Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of AGORACOM, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about big news at their companies. With us today, we got two guys on screen. We got Spiro Curry, CEO of TGS Esports, trades on the venture exchange on the stock symbol TGS. And with him, Guy Halford Thompson. He's the CEO of Pepper Esports. And they're the subject of a definitive agreement in which TGS is acquiring Pepper Esports. We're going to talk about that in a second. For those of you who are new to the story, and look, that's got to be a lot of you because TGS just went public this summer, okay? But they're already a leader in esports events, sponsorship, and production. A lot of esports tournaments that they're putting on every week, and some of these are sponsored by the likes of Pepsi, Red Bull, Shaw Cable, 7-Eleven. So they've got the attention of the big companies because they're giving them great content. That content can be fed anywhere to online platforms or TV stations. So online, for example, at Twitch, they've already had almost 20,000 hours. I think they've surpassed that by now. 20,000 hours of production watched. Over on GINX Esports, they're creating custom content just for GINX's Canadian channel with the potential for more countries. So they're growing organically, but they're also growing by M&A as a result of this definitive agreement to acquire Pepper. That's an esports platform. Guys, let's talk about it. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, George.
First, before we get into the details of anything here, Spiro, maybe this one's for you. $6 million acquisition. How big is this to the company in terms of just importance to the company and its shareholders for really putting you guys on the map?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, there's a couple different reasons why, but first and foremost, when COVID hit and we had to pivot a little bit and go to the online space, we were an in-person retail esports environment,
right?
And we switched to the online space. One of the questions that arose really quickly was, if you're going to invest all this time in developing this online community, what are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do with those players? What are you going to do with that data? And how are you going to be able to sustain that and keep that in your ecosystem over a long period of time? And so, we quickly looked around at what was out there to see if there was any solutions. And quite frankly, from our perspective in the esports space, there weren't. Luckily for us, we know Guy. We've been working with Pepper as partners since late 2018, and they were developing a platform that fit exactly what we needed. And so we sat down and said, listen, you guys have a platform that does everything that we as tournament organizers and players need. We have a database of users that want to use the platform that you're building. Why do we not just put these things together and basically develop and curate our own ecosystem? And the beauty of that ecosystem is there isn't a solution available publicly today that compares to what we have in terms of a player registering, competing, communicating, facilitation, and then getting their prize at the end of the day, all through one piece of software. It's a jumbled mess, and the combination of TGS and Pepper allows us to put that puzzle together and provide a solution that is a full suite of tools that right now for tournament organizers like us isn't on the market.
Yeah, and with esports growing at enormous rates, you better get your act together pretty quickly. And it sounds like you guys have really, while everyone else is kind of patching everything together, you guys have formed one complete solution. Guy, let's talk to you here for a second. Pepper Esports, what we know about it is that it's a competitive esports platform, but it's more than that. So kind of take us through what it is you guys are going to be delivering here. And remember to kind of keep it in layman's terms because a lot of people are still learning about esports. But tell us about how powerful Pepper is today and then how you guys are going to be helping out TGS.
Absolutely. It's really simple. When groups want to create a social media presence, they don't go and build their own social media platform. They go and use Twitter, they go and use Instagram, they go and use Facebook. Great tools for that. When individuals want to go and create content, want to be a content creator, they don't go and build their own video platform, they use YouTube. When companies want to create an esports presence, want to create esports communities, they come to Pepper to create those communities. It's as simple as that.
That's beautiful. Really, I love that explanation.
Exactly. It's the only place you can go to create an esports community, to run competitive events where you can provide everything from event discovery, player registration, running your event, communicating with your players, providing players with a way to support you financially. We pay out players directly on the site. Simple things that you would assume are already there in the market, and they're really not. And so, as far as providing players with a great competitive esports experience, Pepper is the only place that players can get that, and it's the only place that tournament organizers can provide that experience to their players.
And for everyone watching at home, I got to tell you, I can relate. I'll tell you why. Because as all of you know, AGORACOM was first on esports back in 2016. And one of the first things we wanted to do was we said, all right, we've got a large, audience. It'd be great if we could create our own AGORACOM esports tournaments for our clients, for their shareholders, for our members. And we thought, yeah, should be pretty easy. There's got to be something out there. And there wasn't. And it was so frustrating. So either Guy or Spiro, now you're saying that AGORACOM can say, all right, we're going to create an esports. We're going to create our own esports ecosystem here. I don't want to have to go develop new software. I don't want to try and tie it into AGORACOM and mess up my code because it's a finance platform. So now I can go to Pepper / TGS and create AGORACOM esports tournaments now. No problem.
Mm-hmm. And George, we even take that a step further. So the platform itself is a huge tool with a lot of efficiencies, as we've discussed. The beauty of the combination of our two entities is TGS and our staff have over 20 years of combined esports event experience. So when you put on an event with Pepper and TGS, you're not just getting the platform, you're also getting access to a team of folks that can help you set everything up. And so, we talk to companies, we talk to organizations, we talk to high schools that say, we want to do this, but forget the platform, which is huge. Like, we need to step even beyond that, and we need help from step one. And so Guy, myself, and our team, we can actually get them involved. We can build the whole experience for them, leverage the amazing suite of tools that Pepper has to then facilitate the event, and then go all the way through completion and actually also handle production. If they wanted live production, that's part of the package as well. So we actually can create and curate an entire experience from literally A to Z with the combination of our two entities. Now, on top of that, for groups like ours that are experienced in the space, we now have an amazing platform like Pepper that can do all of the things that we need it to do, things that Guy mentioned and the things that you and the team at AGORACOM had issues with early. There are thousands of tournament organizers across the globe that have been doing it the old-fashioned way for years. And this platform is now available for them to come into kind of the new age of an esports experience and run it all under one roof. And that's the power of Pepper.
Okay, first of all, before I hop into the next question, you got a customer, because what I want to do is, and I love the fact that Pepper can manage it and TGS can produce it, because here's what I'm thinking. AGORACOM has two clients, ABC Widgets and XYZ Technologies. So I get, the CEOs of ABC Widgets and the CEOs of XYZ Technologies to play in a friendly esports competition. That's step one, Pepper, but it also sounds like for all the shareholders and all the investors that want to watch this, they can watch it at the same time. So we get all that. Okay, that's amazing. Count me in. Hey, Guy, let me ask you a question. Who's the target market for this? Is it big enterprise? Is it AGORACOM, decently sized niche finance site, platforms? Is it individuals? Is it buddies who say, hey, we got a group of buddies we grew up with and we want to have our own tournaments? Is it affordable? Is it priced by size? How does that work? How do you monetize?
Yeah, great question. Again, it's a pretty simple answer. There's thousands of esports events that happen every day across North America. These are events that range from anything from 10 players to 1,000 players. That's our bread and butter. There are these community events. A lot of them are quite large communities. A lot of them have big sponsors. And those tournament organizers, they're the ones that are having a lot of problems. If you're running a big budget, $5 million esports event, you've got the money to throw at people to make that event smooth. The money is not really a problem. It's when you boil down to these mid-size and smaller events where automation and efficiency is really start to make a difference. You don't want to be running around with spreadsheets. You don't want to be chasing players on Discord to get their results. You don't want to be bouncing them around multiple sites. The big thing you definitely don't want to be, this is Spiro's biggest pain point, sitting there for 8 hours after the tournament's finished, manually paying people out on PayPal, right? We can automate all of that. That's the, that's what happens.
Wow. So you guys can manage. So I can say, okay, first prize, first team, in the AGORACOM tournament gets $500. Second team gets 250. Third place gets $100, and boom, automatic gets paid out to the teams, the players, and all that.
Yeah, we handle all of that. So, there's a lot of community events that can benefit from this. And then it really starts to get interesting when you look at things like high schools. We're starting to see a lot of inbound from schools, certainly in Canada, where, they're not running traditional sports events. Even pre-COVID, esports was gaining a lot of traction. Now it's becoming one of the only things that they can do, and they just don't have the experience or the expertise to run these events. And so, when TGS steps in, not only is there the Pepper platform for them to run their events on, all of the production and streaming, now rather than having to, drive 2 or 3 hours to go and watch an away game for, my kids, I can sit at home and watch them participate in competitive esports for their school without even having to leave my house. There's a huge market there. And then, from you asked about monetization. From a monetization perspective, a big differentiator we have for Pepper, we're not charging people to come on and run an event. You want to come on and run an event, we're going to allow you to do that for free. We are able to take a small transactional fee for every transaction that goes through the site. So if you have paid registration, if we have a Shopify store integration on the site, so if you want to sell T-shirts for your team or for your event, we can facilitate
smart
that.
model.
Yeah, it's a huge part of revenue for tournament organizers, and we take a small fee of all of those purchases. And so what's great is we're not taking money directly out of the player or the TO's pocket. We're only making money when you make money. And when we run the numbers, those numbers become very, very large as we capture a bigger audience. It's also a very sustainable revenue stream because we're not asking players to directly, fork out money and pay us to use our services.
I got Spiro. I got to admit, that's a genius business model because now you don't have the AGORACOMs of the world saying, well, this might cost me a couple $1,000s up front. I don't know if I want to do this. Maybe I'll think about it. Now you make it so easy for AGORACOM or I'm just using AGORACOM because everyone on this can relate to it, but you make it easy for everyone to kind of on-ramp that you should be expecting a ton of growth out of this.
Yeah. I mean, Guy says it best. We're not Pepper's not getting built fast enough to satisfy the demand that we already have. The demand that's been coming in has been insane, and his team has done a phenomenal job in building the platform. The open beta is live right now at pepper.gg. So anyone can go to the website. They can see all of TGS's events for November are listed on pepper.gg at the moment. So the beta is open. But the thing that's important here is we take the time to build it right and make sure the experience is really good. But in terms of people flocking to the platform, when we do a demo, it's not a question of can I do it tomorrow? And when we add on the additional things that we can provide from an event experience, it makes it even better. So a great example of that is there's a school district in North and West Vancouver, School District 44. And there's a vice principal there who's been actually on his own running and building an esports league, which now has 12 schools. And he's running it, typical, spreadsheets, built a landing page.
Together.
So they reached out and said, hey, we want to be a part of this. And when we said the platform is free for their high school students, obviously that was a huge bonus. But the other thing we said to them is, let's help you with production. And so last week, the first Thursday in November, we actually were able to live stream their featured match of the week with 2 high schools. And it was the first time they'd ever streamed. They just set up this Twitch channel the day before, or 2 days before, and they had 45 people watching. And it was students and parents that were tuning in because now all of a sudden they had the power of being able to watch these schools compete. And so every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, we will be producing their match of the week live on Twitch, on their Twitch channel. in the background, TGS and Pepper are providing the foundation that's needed to ensure that the tournament runs or the league runs successfully. But then even just, again, client facing or public facing, there's now a voice and a reach that they have that they never had before.
And I know you guys have both mentioned high schools, and people at home might be saying, high schools, what kind of a market is that? Well, for everyone at home, and I want you guys to chime in, but Play Versus is has received funding in the U.S. to create a nationwide, or as far as they can, a high school esports tournament platform, and it's getting funded and valuations are skyrocketing. So, are you guys looking to do the same thing in Canada, gents, to get ahead of that curve and make this into the high school tournament platform for esports?
Yeah, and there's two really important points. I'm glad you brought that up. So Play Versus is doing a great job in the US, no doubt about it. Two big challenges they have though. One, their primary monetization is they've got to get the high schools to pay them directly. So they're going to a high school and saying, hey, if you want to use our platform, you need to give us money to use the platform. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's often a big barrier of entry. We've had high schools reach out to us and say, hey, we've spoken to Play Versus and other platforms out there, but we just feel that it's expensive. Because
schools, and let's face it, schools are crunched for budget. They can't buy books. It's going to be hard for them to justify to their parents and students that they shelled out money for an esports tournament, as great as it would be. You're 100% right.
Exactly. And so the fact that we have a transactional revenue model means that we can go to these schools and offer the platform for free, which they're blown away by. It's like, wow, like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, it's for free, because as your students become on our platform, we're in it for the long term. We're going to build that user base. Those players are going to discover other events. They're going to stay on Pepper. We're going to make money from them. They're never going to leave. People love Pepper. As soon as they come on the platform, it's very sticky. We're going to make a lot of revenue from these players long term. When you look at comparables out there, when you look at Twitch, when you look at Discord, when you run the numbers, those platforms are valued at around $30 to $35 per active player or per active user on their platform. If we're able to capture even coming close to half of the North American market when it comes to running esports events, we'll have users on our platform. Those users will be worth well over $100 million just looking at those comparables out there. And so we start to see that, for us to grow, certainly on the Pepper side and as TGS as a combined company, getting as many users on the platform as we can is going to really, really drive the value of our company. And those users are very sticky. Twitch and Discord have very limited ways to make money from their players and from their users. We have a lot more ways of monetizing our players. And so we really believe that those values are certainly going to be justified and probably going to be even higher when investors look at the ways that we can monetize our players. And our goal right now is, we're going to cover our costs. We're even going to make money from these players on the platform, but we're not going to come and say, hey, it's going to be $35 per player per season as a barrier to entry. We're going to get you on the platform.
Yep.
You start playing or start entering events, and you're only going to realize that, we're making money in the background, because every time you pay $10 to enter a tournament, we're getting a little cut of that transaction. And that starts to add up.
Hey, it works for Facebook. It works for Instagram. So why wouldn't it work for you guys? Hey, Spiro, the numbers that guys talk about, not that I want to focus on the numbers because I don't want to put you on a spot as far as projections and all that, because you can't do it anyways unless you officially press release something. But, guys talking about a great business, but that's today. 5 years from now, esports is going to grow exponentially to the point that it's going to surpass NFL, NBA, NHL. I think the only sport it won't be able to cross is Premier League soccer or La Liga soccer, that's got 1 billion fans around the world. And even there, they're going to give them a run for their money. But, where do you see all this in the next 5 years in terms of, again, not growth numbers specifically, but just more, as an idea how big this could get?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a pretty crazy trajectory overall. And the one thing I like to point at is consumption, because I feel like consumption is a very good tool because it's not just about people who play and compete. It's about the overall amount of people that are consuming video game content on an ongoing basis. And so if you look at Twitch, for example, in February, the month before COVID hit, they had about 900 million hours watched that month, which is an insane number. And not only 900 million hours watched.
Is that for a month or total, or what's that?
That's total over the course of 1 month in February, 900 million hours. And at the time, they had 15 million active users over the month, each one spending on average 90 minutes on the platform. So 15 million unique active users, average of 90 minutes per 900 million hours watched. Now, here's where the flip happens. In April, the first month post-COVID, that number jumped from 900 million to 1.9 billion hours watched. And so when you're talking about a more than double in a span of 60 days, it shows you that the desire to consume esports is there. And that to me is more important than the amount of people that are playing and the amount of people that are registering for tournaments. Now, those numbers will grow in conjunction. But the more you can put on tournaments and the more eyeballs you can get on them, it's like soccer. So when you talk about La Liga and Premier League, you're talking about the top 0.01% that actually make it. That's not where the money comes from. The money comes from everyone that's consuming it. And so those are the numbers that we like to look at. So when it comes to high schools, universities, community-based events, as Guy mentioned, we're seeing thousands of events every single day globally. So the opportunity to take a piece of that market is a huge one. But more importantly, how can we go beyond that? How can we get people engaged and then continue to see the growth in numbers? The one thing that also happened recently with COVID is when all pro sports stopped, esports was there to fill that gap. Because it can be played from anywhere and because you can connect from anywhere, regardless of situation, as long as you have a system and a half-decent internet connection, you're able to play. And so, when that happened and all of the sports leagues paused, you saw NBA players playing in NBA 2K tournaments. Sure. You saw NHL players playing in NHL tournaments. You saw eNASCAR, iRacing, whether it was NASCAR or F1, be shown consistently on weekends. You saw this amazing plethora of esports content on live primetime television. And so when that happens, the hockey stick curve, which was projected to come a bit later, maybe 2022, has come now. And so for us, we see the long-term global potential, and we want to create the community / entry-level aspect for those folks. Like, I want to play, or I want to learn how to organize a tournament. How can I do that? Well, now there's a tool available for you to get in without it being overly complicated and having kind of everything with resources all in one place. So I know that doesn't give numbers, George, and I can't, as you know, dive into that too much.
Yep, but that gives a real good sense there.
Yeah, the industry is growing, is huge already and growing. And our niche, we understand it, and that's going to be our focus.
Hey, Guy, last question, devil's advocate. Everybody can be your customer, from Red Bull to NHL players who want to put on tournaments. AGORACOM wants to go to buddies who want to, big families who want to put on tournaments. How do you focus on one or two verticals so that you don't spread yourself so thin that you're not closing any business? So, what do you focus on from a marketing point of view to get your numbers, to get your tournament numbers up?
Yeah, great question. So look at it, how does Facebook do it? How does YouTube do it? How do these big brands broaden their horizon when it comes to customers? It's about making it really easy for the smaller communities to self-manage. So if you want to, with a few friends, create an event on Pepper for free, even if you're a medium-sized community, we're going to provide you with all of the tools to go on and really easily go in and create that event. If it's a paid event, we're going to get a small amount of money from that. But our touch points on that event are zero. Like, we provide you with tools to do that. If you're running a larger event, now we're going to start to sell you some services to make that event more specialized, some better branding, some better exposure.
Right.
That's where we start to step in a little bit. And then where it becomes really powerful, I'm glad you asked that, because it really shows where Pepper and TGS are powerful together. Now you're, the Red Bulls of this world, the larger corporations. You want a fully curated event. Well, now Pepper and TGS are fully working together. We're going to provide you the setup, the production, the content, the streaming, the registrations, the payouts, We're going to go the whole 9 yards. And that's something that, we're going to charge for our services, but we're going to provide you with, a service that you're not able to get anywhere else. And because we're under the same umbrella, the value for money you're getting is actually incredible. And so when it comes to scale, it's really, as you said, it's easy to say we're the platform for everyone. That's not really what we're going after, but it's providing the necessary tools so that anyone can come and create the type of experience that they want to on the Pepper platform.
Yeah, and look, sometimes those small experiences can be, I can have a group of my high school buddies, and before you know it, they're on there, okay? It's not, not going to be a ton of revenue for the platform, but a few of those high school buddies work for enterprise, organizations, companies, and say, you know what? We should be doing this for ABC Widgets. We should be doing this for XYZ Technologies. I'm going to take this to my boss, or I'm going to take this to my partner, and I'm going to do this. I think that's going to happen, and I know, I can tell you right now, AGORACOM is going to be doing one. And I know for a fact, one of a big high net worth investors, a real estate guy, a real estate broker in town, has wanted to do an esports tournament within the real estate world as a marketing tool for ages. And I said, it doesn't exist. I don't know. It's not out there right now. I think we got it. So guys, congratulations. It sounds really exciting. Like I said, I and AGORACOM been on esports since 2016, and now we're seeing the evolution into even better solutions now, things like this. And I think this has got great promise, and I congratulate you. And Spiro, as the CEO of TGS, I'll leave you with the last word.
Yeah, thanks a lot, George. Really appreciate the support and the kind words. I mean, for us, at the end of the day, we want to make esports accessible to everyone, and we want to make it easy for everyone. And if the combination of TGS and Pepper can solve a problem, then it's going to be better for everyone. Esports, as big as it's becoming, is still considered, in my opinion, a grassroots community. You go to live events, when we were able to, or you play in online tournaments, and you actually become friends with and get to know a lot of these people. So if we're able to help foster some of those connections and grow the industry in a way that isn't being accessed right now, for us, that's a massive accomplishment. And as someone who plays games every single day and still has a bit of a competitive candle lit, although it's dwindling as my age grows. For me, it's an opportunity to be able to give back to everyone else who still supports the esports community. So we're really happy and excited to be where we're at today, and really thankful that Guy and the team at Pepper, understand and see the vision that we have as a combined entity going forward. And we're just really excited for people to interact with our platform and hopefully host many events with us.
Gents, really exciting stuff, man. Great closing words there, Spiro. Hey, I've got a Predator laptop I just bought a couple months ago for a reason, because I knew I'd be doing more and more of this. So I'm looking forward to having you guys back on a lot more as things start to develop and grow. Wish you great success. And for everybody at home, you've been watching, or if you've been listening by podcast, to Spiro Curry. He's a CEO of TGS that trades on the venture under the stock symbol TGS. And Guy Halford Thompson, who's the CEO of Pepper Esports. I guess that's going to be the division, one of the divisions of TGS. It's up to you to do your due diligence. We know there's a lot to consume because esports is new for a lot of you. So get to the TGS hub on AGORACOM, where we lay out, really good layman explanation of what esports is, where it's going, what TGS is doing. And then find your way over the TGS site, do more due diligence, and take advantage of the AGORACOM hub. Start asking questions, get your answers, because we're big believers in the world of esports. I'm not allowed to say, so I won't. I can't tell you, where TGS is going to be as a stock 5 years from now, but I love their business model. I think it's smart, and it definitely deserves your attention and your due diligence. And hopefully today you've discovered your next great small cap esports stock. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you soon.